Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments.
Hi, how are you
Hello,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. For everyone listening, it's been 2 weeks since we recorded, but for you guys, it's only gonna be 1 week. So for you guys, we're not missing anything, but it's been a while since we've had a chat.
It has, and I feel like a lot's happened in that time. I mean, definitely for me.
Yeah, for me too. Oh my God. Thankfully we've kept in touch with like our voice messages and everything, so I have an idea of what's going on in your life and vice versa. But in the last 2 weeks, so much has happened. So much has happened in the last 2 weeks for both of us. You were on vacation and I was like going through my own ups and downs. So you said something in your voice messages. I guess we can get into it a bit. Or do you want to save that for the meat of the episode?
I mean, it kind of comes into what I was going to say anyway in the meat of the episode.
Okay.
That I think from a mental health perspective, things are actually really good at the moment. And so I have ADHD, and I think
Mhm.
we've discussed this before. And something that I've really struggled with over the years is balancing whether or not to take medication. And the medication for me, it turns me into a machine at work. Like it does incredible things. Literally, I will get 10 times at least work done when I'm on the medication versus when I'm not. And the downside is that the crash is horrible. So it's a very intense drug, and at the end of the day, you really feel it. You really feel it.
Yeah.
So I think it actually has pretty much the same chemical compound or chemical makeup as cocaine, and so it's a very powerful drug. Makes you very chatty, but it also it hyper focuses you. So over the years, I've gone on maybe 2 month streaks where I start taking it, and I do amazingly at work. I'm getting 100%, so many more sales. And then I stopped taking it because I just constantly feel so bad. My mental health is really, really suffering. And the moment I stopped taking it after a week or so, suddenly like my mental health goes through the roof. Now, work has been really tough recently. We've discussed this before, and I think a large part of that is because I have no motivation. I don't enjoy the
Mhm.
job. And so yesterday, I got back from Italy at like 3 in the morning, and I had to be up at work like 4 hours later. And I thought, the only way I'm gonna get through this day is by taking this drug, and it was the first time I've taken it in over 6 months, a long, long time. Probably
Yeah.
since January, actually. Um, and it was amazing. I got so much done, incredibly productive day, not just from a work perspective, but I sorted my resume out, I applied for a bunch of jobs. I mean, I really got stuff done.
Yeah.
But then the crash was horrible, and in the evening, I felt really, really bad, very low, very anxious. My heart was racing. I struggled to sleep, which is another side effect. And I'm still kind of feeling the after effects of it today.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is, in the past, when I wasn't necessarily in a particularly mentally stable place, it would really hit me. But right now, I can feel it. I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel the sort of my heart racing, and my mental state is not very stable right now.
Yeah.
But actually, I feel fine. I can get through this. In the past, I would have canceled my social plans, and I'm actually looking forward to socializing tonight. So I think from a mental perspective, I'm in a very good place. And so, yeah,
Okay. Interesting. It's interesting that you're taking the medication right now, and instead of it impacting your mental health, you're looking at it bird's eye view and you're like, okay, well, I'm feeling the physical side effects right now, but I'm not going to let it go into my mental state. And like figuring out that balance with this medication is something we've discussed before, and like figuring out when is best for you to take it and when is best for you to just continue on with your life. And it's interesting for sure.
it is. Yeah, no, very
Yeah.
interesting. But I feel like I have a much more control right now, which is good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's spin a wheel. Okay, spirituality. What practices or rituals help you feel the most connected to your spiritual self?
You know that I'm big on meditation.
Yeah.
I love meditating, and I find that when I'm meditating consistently, daily or every couple of days, I'm in a much better mental state, physical state, emotional state. Everything just kind of comes into balance. And I think that's the key for me is regularly meditating. And when I'm not doing that, I find that my entire kind of energy just completely goes off kilter. It completely goes, out of whack. And I find it very hard to keep myself centered, to keep myself, on track compared to when I'm meditating regularly, and it's just much easier. I think that's is the basic sort of very short but sweet and obvious answer.
I would say mine's the same. It's definitely meditation. I'd say also spending some time in deep reflection is also really important for my spirituality practice, and those two hand in hand work wonders. But like sometimes being around, like when other people are talking like spirituality practice or woo woo, sometimes I get not frustrated by it, but let's say I'm going through a hard time and I'm talking to somebody who knows I'm a little woo, and then they start to be like, but it's all like a journey, or they I don't know, basically
Mhm.
they say all the woo stuff and I'm like, "That's not helpful right now." Like,
No.
right now I need to feel what I'm feeling and then move through it. I'll get there myself, but yeah, I'd say a combination of meditation and some deep reflection for me, so, like, journaling or whatever that is, like, serious just, like, time to sit and think about everything.
Yeah, and what does spirituality mean to you? Because I think for some people it means God, and it
Mm.
means, actual sort of spiritual beings that you sort of look up to. For me, I don't personally really believe in God. I'd say I'm agnostic. So I don't really know what there is, but I don't also not believe in God. I think there could be something, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But that's
I mean,
not
I'd
what
s
spirituality means to me.
well, what does spirituality mean to you?
Spirituality for me is I believe in energies and I believe in kind of energies aligning to kind of to impact your mental state. And I don't know what that means, to be honest, but I believe that there is some sort of energies that kind of dictate how we feel. I mean, like you were just saying to me before we started recording about Mercury being in retrograde, that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that spirituality means to me. And I don't know whether that's true. I don't know about the planets aligning and all of that. But
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing that there is some sort of energy, who knows what it's controlled by, and that's for me is what spirituality is.
Right. Yeah, I'd say mine's pretty similar. Mine is belief in something larger than yourself or like faith. But again, I'm the same as you. I don't necessarily believe in like a god or whatever. Like I don't know if my thing has a name. I definitely same kind of thing. Like I believe in like the energies or things aligning the way they're supposed to. I honestly I call mine like the universe. It's interesting because my boyfriend Paul, he believes in God, and when if I'm getting like into my spirituality talking and I say the universe, we've had the conversation where in his mind, he's replacing the word universe with God, and we're talking the same thing. So it's more my spirituality is for me, it's just the belief of something larger than yourself, basically. So who
Yeah.
knows? But that's a nice thing about spirituality is that it's unique and individual to everybody. So whatever that is for you, if you believe in a god or if you believe in an organized religion or if you don't believe in anything at all, like just kind of faith in something that's larger than yourself and basically the moral compass and the north star that gets you mentally where you need to be, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. And I don't know what that is necessarily. I don't think anyone truly necessarily knows what that is, but yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Let's get into the meetup episode. You said something. Okay, so Josh was on vacation last week and he sent me a voice recording, and it's something I was so intrigued by and I really want to dive into that with you. So in addition to the wheel of life, what's going well, what needs a little love, I'm so curious. You were saying this thing about everything you came out of this trip with a sense of a new man, and it was interesting hearing the voice recording because you sounded so relaxed. You said you came almost like you evolved into this new man, and you said you wanted to do everything with a sense of purpose, but you didn't really dive into that, and I was so intrigued by what you meant and what brought you to that revelation.
Yeah, so before going to Italy, I was having a pretty difficult time from a mental health perspective, very up and down, finding it very hard to get any kind of consistency. And there wasn't necessarily one thing that was causing it. It was kind of a lot of things that were off balance and that weren't really working for me. I think I was also spending a lot of time on my phone and on screens. I mean, if you look at my screen time before I went away, I was on 6, 7 hours a day. Most of that was scrolling Instagram, WhatsApp, spending a lot of time just on group chats, pointless group chats that add nothing to my life. And I wanted to take the trip. I was away for a week in Italy with my dad and my sister, and I just wanted to take that as an opportunity to completely relax and actually practice an element of spirituality in that I was going to put my phone away for most of the trip, delete Instagram, which I did on the first day, and just spend as much time just thinking as possible. Not even necessarily reading. I did a fair bit of reading while I was away as well, but just sitting there, just thinking about nothing in particular, but whatever came into my mind and then kind of exploring those thoughts. And honestly, I can't really pin the moment that this happened, but there was a moment, and I don't know what caused it or what thought sparked it, where I just thought to myself, it's time to grow up. It's time to actually take control of my life. For so many years, I've been in a position where I'm just kind of existing and I'm living my life. I'm having fun. I'm doing great things. But I don't, in terms of a level of success, I'm not striving towards anything. I'm not striving towards any major career goals. I feel like life is more happening to me than me taking control or life happening for me.
Mm.
And so I thought it would be so easy to just completely take control of every aspect of my life. And I guess that's, kind of ties into the wheel of life and how you have control over all of those areas. And if you actually think about all of these different sections and you can think about, okay, what would get me to a 10? You do have control. But I'm not showing up or wasn't showing up before the trip and for many years as the best version of myself, as the best man I can be. I was just letting life slip through my fingers.
Right.
And I just came to the realization that it is time to take full control over everything and how easy that would be as well, just to show up as the best version of myself every day.
Mm.
And the living with purpose thing. So I was thinking about live with purpose, the phrase. You hear it so often, especially in the community that we've come from. With purpose. And I've often thought, what does that mean? Does that mean finding your purpose and living with that in mind? Because it's not so easy to find what your purpose is. And a lot of people, and possibly even the majority of people in life, don't actually ever find what their purpose is.
Yeah.
But I think there are multiple different ways that you can perceive that phrase. And the way that I've chosen to is every single thing I do, I want to approach it with an element of purpose. I want to approach it with purpose. And what that means to me is, again, what I just said, showing up as the best version of myself in every single thing I do. So in my relationship, no matter what I do, I want to pour 110% into every single thing I do, whether it's texting, whether it's being with her in person. Same from socials, again, whether it's texting or being with my friends in person, I want to be 100% present in those moments. Never give a half-hearted response, never send a half-hearted text. It has to be giving 110% all the time. The same with work. I've been half-assing work for so many years, to be honest. And I think that's partly why I've hated my job and sort of jumped around so much. And again, I came back yesterday with the intention of I want to approach my job, approach my work with 110% because the energy I put in is what I'll get back.
Yeah.
And I did. And I had a great day at work yesterday and I tied up the biggest deal that I've done in this company in the last year.
Hell yeah.
I also, as I mentioned before, I applied for a bunch of jobs. I sorted my resume out, and I was doing everything, putting 110% into every element of my day. The other part of that is I feel like for many years I've rushed my life. I've rushed so many things. And again, it ties into texting. It ties into being with people in person. Have struggled previously to be fully present with people because I'm like, oh, I should be texting a friend or I should be, checking Instagram. Life, people say life's too short, but actually life is very long if you think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And every day, 24 hours is a long time. And you have many, many, many 24 hours in your life. Take your time. What I want to really start doing, and what I am starting to do since yesterday, since I got back, is to actually think things through instead of just acting as quickly as possible to get things done. Every single thing I do, I want to think about it and make sure, again, I'm showing up as the best version of myself. Does that make sense?
Right. Of course. I was curious when you say you want to show up as the best version of yourself, what does that specifically look like? Because it's very, like, it's amazing, but it is very general.
Yeah. It's difficult to say specifically what it looks like because it looks like so many different components. As I said, I think it ties into, well, it does tie into every single part of the life wheel. So if you think about it and I wrote down, I took a tiny piece of A5 paper. You guys have A5, right? You call it the same thing? Do
I
you not know
don't
you
know.
don't know what I'm talking about?
I mean, when I was in art school, I remember, like, dealing with tons of different sizes of paper, but I don't call them by their fucking names.
What? What do you call like a small piece of paper versus like a bigger piece of paper then?
Okay, so this I'm
That's
for
A4.
everybody, this is A4, like a regular notebook.
Yeah,
What's this?
that would, ooh, that's tiny. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway,
Paper, guys.
yeah, riveting. It's very exciting chat that. It's like being in the office. So, God, I'm thrown off by the paper talk.
Okay,
But
so you took a
I
piece of
took a piece of
paper.
A5, so small paper, right?
Okay,
The
okay,
size of a small notepad, not the size of yours, maybe half that.
okay.
I was just trying to find any piece of paper I could after having these realizations, these revelations. And my dad's the only paper he had was this tiny piece of A5 paper. And I took it and I wrote down my life wheel. I wrote every single component that we discuss. And again, I gave it a score. I kind of redid my life wheel. And next to those, and we've spoken about this before about how I approach my life wheel. I wrote
Yeah,
about every single thing I can do. It could be two, three, four things, maybe one, to get that from a two, from a seven, from a six up to a 10. What could
right.
make that area perfect and give me that perfect balance in life? And what I'm doing with that piece of paper is carrying it everywhere with me now. So I have a constant
Wow.
reminder. It's a tiny piece of paper, and it wasn't meant to be this way, but it just happened to be that my dad had a small piece of paper. I wrote on it, and now it literally fits in my pocket. I can take it everywhere as a constant reminder if I want to, check it a couple of times a day. I know what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
So from a spirituality perspective, for example, it's about meditating every day.
Wait, before you dive into it, can we do like an exercise almost? How about I call out each
Yeah.
section of the wheel in life and you give me like a one word to one sentence thing, or one word to one sentence phrase or intention that you have that will allow you
Yeah.
to take it up to the level. Okay,
I'm not gonna get
let's
my
do
piece
it.
of paper. I know
Just
most of it
off the top of
anyway.
your
Yeah,
head.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one word to one sentence. We'll do
Okay.
it rapid fire. Okay,
Cool.
mental health.
Mental health, meditation, exercising. That's it really.
Okay,
Meditation and
great.
exercise.
Romance.
Romance is about giving 100% in every single thing I do in the relationship. So giving 100% over text, buying gifts because her number one love language is gifts. So that's something that because I've never really understood, but that's something that I want to start doing to show up 100% in the relationship. And yeah, I mean, that's it really.
Okay, contribution.
Contribution, I want to start volunteering, whether that be at Tony Robbins events again. I want to start giving back in that regard. I was actually looking after drawing out my life wheel at potentially crewing one of the events this year. I haven't done that in a good few years. Doing things like Basket Brigade as well. So,
Mhm.
contributing to the less fortunate at Christmas, that kind of thing. I really want to start actually using some of my spare time to actively volunteer.
Okay, awesome. Growth.
So what I put for growth actually is all of the above. So I put growth at the
Right.
bottom and I put all of the above but it also is about reading. I think reading regularly. I've committed to starting to read fiction books. I think that's something we discussed before about I kind of feel guilty about reading fiction books because I feel like I should be using any time that I'm reading to learn things, not to imagine things, because fiction isn't true, of course.
Right, but it's reading is reading. It still opens
Yeah,
your mind up to
exactly.
worlds and stuff, you
And so
know?
I think a shift in that mindset is really important.
Yeah. Okay, fun.
Fun is actually my number one category at the moment, and it's just kind of continuing to do what I'm doing at the moment.
Cool.
Going out, socializing, booking in fun things, booking in festivals, raves, just keep doing what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Okay, great. Physical environment.
Physical environment, working out every day in one way, shape, or form. So whether that's a run.
Wait, that's physical health, Josh.
Oh,
We're not
physical
there yet.
environment.
Physical environment, bro.
Right. I need to work on my listening as well, apparently. Okay, so physical environment. Physical environment's one I struggle with because I would say my physical environment is kind of a maybe like a 7 at the moment. I'm pretty happy, I've got my own place, an amazing flat. I've got great flatmates, that as messy as they are and as much as they draw with chalk on my carpet, they
If
are.
you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen. It's fucking funny.
Yeah, so they're good people and I enjoy living with them.
Like, does it feel like home yet? Are you happy with
So one
everything in
thing
there?
so what I actually ended up putting there is laying out ground rules because the big thing at the moment is how messy the place is and how no one kind of takes control or takes ownership over what they leave out and what they clean and it's just a mess and I end up having to clean the whole flat once a week. And it takes me 30 minutes, but I'd rather people chip in and we actually have ground rules and we have like a rota as to who does what. So that's what I've set out to do.
Yeah, amazing. Your friends.
Friends is similar to romance in terms of or my romantic relationship that I want to be putting 100% in making active time because again, I think with spending more time with my girlfriend recently, I spend a lot most of my spare time with her. Any spare time I have, I'm with her. I want to start blocking out time to see my friends basically, and then, putting extra effort into texting them, to calling them, because I think that's really fallen off recently. My social life's great, but I think my closest friends, their relationship is kind of suffering as a result of my romantic relationship.
Oh, interesting. Okay, spirituality. We
Meditation.
kind of said this at the beginning.
Yeah.
Meditation, yeah. Physical health.
Well, I kind of already said that, didn't I? Working out,
Yeah, working out.
maybe, well, I try to work out 6 days a week, but ideally every day. The
Okay.
other shift that I want to make on that is waking up every day at 6:06 a.m.
6:06, very specific.
6:06. I just think it's quite a cool time, isn't it? It's quite cool to say, "Oh, yeah, what time do you wake up every day, Josh?" "Oh, yeah, 6:06." But yeah, so 6:06 a.m., and it just gives me an extra 3 hours to my day. Because at the moment, I'm waking up at 8:50 a.m., and I start work at 9 a.m. So I have enough time to wash my face, brush my teeth, and that's it. So I have an extra 3 hours to start working on side hustles, on working out, on everything. So it's just gonna give me so much more.
Got it. Cool. Family.
Family is again is similar to friendships. I think so. Bella, my sister, she just moved to LA a couple of weeks ago. Since then, I've seen my mum once. We talk regularly, we text regularly, but I've only seen her once. In fact, I've seen my cousin more than I've seen my mum recently. So I need to start making more of an effort, actually blocking out a day, a week, maybe Sunday. I haven't decided on the day yet, but just one day where I make sure I see my mum, my dad, my sister, my dogs, more importantly than anyone. And yeah, so that's really important.
Got it. Okay, finances.
Finances, I need to start sticking very rigidly to my budgeting, to the way that I do my budgeting. I think we've spoken about this before, that actually the
Yeah.
way I budget is very rigorous. And if I stick to it, I should have no problems financially. The problem is sticking to it with the lifestyle that I've lived over the last 2 years in particular.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this month, actually, I've been really good and I'm currently under my daily budget on
Hell
average
yeah.
over the last, what is it, the first 2 weeks of the month. So we're halfway and I'm below what I was meant to spend. So I'm doing pretty well on that front, which would be the first time I've done that since I moved out.
Amazing. Amazing. Career. And that's the last one, career.
Career, well, actually putting 100% in at work, just making sure that I'm working hard, doing everything I can to close deals, to be the best employee that I can possibly be. But at the same time, when I'm done with my work, when I have those extra 3 hours in the morning, working on side hustles, sending out job applications for other jobs that are more exciting, and that will sort my career out.
Got it. Cool. So that's basically every area and what you want to be doing in each area. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, I have there's there on my sort of A5 piece of paper. There is it's very specific, and I've written out. I say it's very specific. They're like 3 words for each thing, pretty
Right.
much. But it's solid, and I think it's a very that's what I love about the life wheel is that if you can write you literally write out a blueprint to have the perfect life, to have the ideal life. And of course, once you achieve those things, if you're doing all of those things consistently, then there's more you can do at that point.
Right.
But you have the blueprint there. I have the blueprint there. And if I stick to it, my life will take off.
Exactly. And it's also just like something to keep in mind too is that with the wheel of life, there are always times in life. Well, this is the whole point of the podcast. There are always times in life where some areas are excelling and other areas just need more attention and love. And those things always shift. So even though you're working on all areas of life, like the momentum might be faster in some areas than it is in others. But based on what you just said and go with that exercise where we went through each of the sections of the wheel of life, the one thing that kinda stood out to me was, okay, it seems like you actually need to build yourself, like, a system and a schedule for your life because you're like, "Okay, well, I need to schedule the time for my romance and for my friends and my family, and then waking up early, which will give me the time for whatever." Feels like you almost need to have, like, a calendar of your day and be like, "Okay, 6:06 to 9, I'm working on these things, and then 9 till whenever, I'm working on these things, and then this is my social time, and then this is my one day for family, this is my one day for friends, this is my one day for my romance." And, like, figuring out a schedule where you can, like, actually work everything in. I don't know what kind of person you are as far as schedules, planners, like, all that.
Yes, I think this has been the biggest struggle for me over the years because I've done the Wheel of Life for years. I mean, we've since I've known you pretty much,
Yeah.
and I always draw out this blueprint that I know that if I stick to it, I'll be successful, I'll be happy, my life will be well rounded, well balanced. But it's about sticking to those habits that is really hard for me. And actually consistently I've tried so many different techniques. I've tried in my iPhone calendar, there was one, I think it was a year or so ago. I wrote out every single thing I was meant to be doing daily, and I put it as a daily reminder, so it would show up on my calendar every single day, and I would get a notification on my phone telling me, "You need to have a cold shower, you need to go to the gym, you need to do this, you need to do that." Didn't work. I just ignored the notifications. Like, the moment they came up at 8 in the morning, I just swiped them off.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I just I think the idea was nice to start with, but it just yeah, in practice, it wasn't gonna work work because you can just get rid of it easily.
I've definitely done that before too with my notifications on my phone, but I know we've talked about the book Atomic Habits before. There are definitely a lot of strategies that you can do to implement these new habits and get rid of the old habits. And also, I want to urge you, same thing at the beginning of the year when we're like, oh my God, I have all these resolutions and blah, blah, blah. And then it takes 1 month and everything falls off. I'd
That's it.
say work on, I don't know how many are feasible for you, maybe 1 to 3, 1 to 5 new habits at a time. Because if you
Mhm.
do all of them at once, it might be a lot. Like, I think the 606 one might be the perfect one to start with because adding those 3 hours to your day allows you to have the time to work on your side hustle, your career, your physical health, like your
Yeah,
mental health, whatever. Those extra 3 hours might open up the rest of your life. So I feel like that might be the best one to focus on first.
100%. No, I completely agree. I think because also if I'm waking up at 6:06 and I have those 3 hours before I start work to kill, an hour of that's taken up by the gym or by going for a run, okay, no more than an hour. Then I have 2 hours to kill. I'm not just gonna sit there on TikTok or on Instagram. I'm gonna sit there well, I could do that, but I'd feel guilty, and I'd feel like, "What's the point in waking up at 6:06 in the morning if I'm just gonna spend 2 hours scrolling on my phone?" So I'm
Yeah.
actually gonna be forced to use that time to do productive things, to work on side hustles, to do these different elements of my wheel of life that are actually gonna
Yeah.
make me so I think, yeah, the early starts are really, really important, and I've never really been a morning person, but I think it's a really important shift to make because my evenings are always so busy. So getting that time back in the morning is so important, and I think that's the
Cool.
best place to start for sure.
Definitely the best. So that's very clear what your homework is for sure, like for the next week to wake up at 6:06 every day.
Yeah, I think it's doable as well. I mean, I have yet another 2 festivals this weekend.
Oh my
However,
god.
however, they don't start until, like 2 p.m., they'll finish at, like, 10 p.m., so there's no reason I can't wake up at 6:06. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. You could totally do it. You can totally do it. And even if it's just Monday through Friday, like for me, like with the morning routine, which was my homework, that was my homework a couple weeks ago. I've been really good about it, but I've only been really good about it Monday through Friday.
Okay,
So 5 days a week, I'm really good on this morning routine. Saturday, Sunday, I have not been, but it's because I'm doing other things and I've been
sure.
waking up. I wake up earlier on the weekends than I do on the weekdays, which is so interesting.
Why? Does that just happen naturally?
Yeah.
Okay,
Since I was a kid.
very
Like,
interesting.
yeah, I think it's because I'm so excited by what I'm doing on the weekends and I want to get the most out of my day that I naturally wake up at 7:30. But when I'm weekdays, I wake up at 8 o'clock typically. And I have an hour before work to do my morning routine, make my many beverages. I got 3 beverages at all time. I have
Nice.
my matcha, my hot lemon water, and like a regular water.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's I think same thing, like, that extra time would be great.
Yeah.
So
No, 100%. I think for me, the most daunting thing about this is implementing all these different habits, and there's so many different things that I need to do, that I need to work towards, and I wanna show you something. I've just found my journal just while you were chatting, just there talking just then. One of the ideas that I had, instead of the calendar reminders, instead of using different apps, was writing out kind of like a tick list. So I'd write down a list in my journal of things that I need to do every single day. So it was broken into things I need to do every week, every day, and every month in order to be
mm,
happy, in order to have a well-rounded wheel of life.
yeah,
And I wrote out this whole thing, this whole chart, and all it was is just I'd have to tick if I did it every single
yeah,
time I did it.
yeah,
And if you look, this is the reason that I didn't do it, because there are so many different things. And I looked at it. I think the first day I opened this journal, I was like, I can't do this. There's so many
mhm.
different things. Like, it's so overwhelming. Look at this. It's absolutely ridiculous. What was I thinking? All these different things that I'm meant to do, like,
Yeah, that's a lot, it's a
it's
lot. It's a
insane.
lot to do that all at once, like,
Yeah.
I'd say definitely focus on 1 to 3, like, maybe I really think the 606 is the key because
Yeah.
you can fit in that cold shower after your workout, and then you can fit in a meditation, like,
Yeah.
it's definitely a way to do that.
So what I've already done is I've deleted all of my alarms because I had so many different alarms that I'd like snooze and stuff. The only alarm there now is 6:06.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's definitely the homework, and then we'll see how it goes, and we can readjust next week based on, or not next week because I'm going on vacation next week, but we'll see how it goes for the next 2 weeks for you, and we can adjust as needed. But I think that's like the key one. Just adding extra time to your day will allow you to have the time and make the time for those other things that are going to be super impactful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that is the key. So I'll get started on that from tomorrow.
Amazing.
And how have you been?
Well, I mean, I've been keeping you up to date, so everyone who's listened knows that Josh gets a very special spin-off episode every Friday. It even has its own theme song and sponsors. So I've kept Josh super up to date on what's been happening. I'd say the last 2 weeks have been extreme low, extreme high, which has been really intriguing. The first week it was right before my period and then during my period, and I was super, super emotional. I had a lot of plans happening on the weekend, and then it started raining and everything got canceled, but it didn't even rain. So, and for me, I take it very hard when my plans are canceled, and that's like something from my childhood that, like, whatever. That's a whole separate conversation, basically. But too long didn't read. TLDR on that is I'm a futuristic person. It's really important for me to have something to look forward to. I'm a very social person. I'm very extroverted. And when my plans get canceled and my people time gets canceled, it feels like a personal attack almost. And it's not, but that's what it feels like. And especially when like I spend the whole week, I work from home, I work by myself. Like my boyfriend's very busy in the evenings. We don't really spend time together during the week. So I'm alone through the week. And then the weekends are my time to fill up my cup, basically. And when that was all canceled, I had a very emotional time. But it was really transformative for my relationship because my boyfriend was so supportive in managing my emotions. Just I was sitting there crying for basically a day, and he blew off his work. He was going to be working. He blew off his work to sit there and just be present with me as I was going through the emotional things, which has been really transformative. And honestly, I was just kind of funk that entire week. I was through my period. I was really not in a great emotional state. I like could not shake the funk. Um, Funny enough, like, it ended up getting way better as soon as that next weekend hit, and I had a weekend jam-packed with really fun social activities, and it filled my cup up to the max. It was really nice. I This past weekend, I, like, went to a party, I did, like, a bunch of wellness events, like, I helped my friend move, I volunteered, like, I spent great quality time with my partner, like, it was really excellent, and then since then, I've been in a great place. So, it's been really interesting the last 2 weeks to notice the extreme low and the extreme high, and basically understanding how to prioritize like, okay, if my plans do get canceled, what are my backup plans that I have for myself just so I don't become and it's okay to become a puddle and an emotional thing. I'm a woman. Like, the whole point of being a woman and a part of the process of being a woman is getting emotional and allowing my body to like grieve and allowing my body to process through everything it needs to process through in order to just function properly. So I think I needed to have that kind of like breakdown moment, but since then, things have been really great. As far as honestly, I'm intrigued to do this thing as well. Do you have the Wheel of Life up?
I do not, so I can pull it up.
Let's do that same exercise that you did, like just rapid fire, like each
Yeah.
area. Instead of
Hold
just
on.
doing one area that's going well, one area that's not, maybe I'll just do like rapid fire. These are the ways that my
Yeah, I
intentions.
think that's a good idea. But also just to say on what you were just talking about sort of the ups and the downs, especially from a social perspective, is that that's gonna happen. You're gonna have disappointments. You're gonna have letdowns. People letting you down, whether letting you down in this case or just things going wrong. And it does tend to happen that when something goes wrong, it all goes wrong. It all goes wrong
Yeah.
at once, right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen, and you can't it's as you said, it's okay to get emotional and upset about it, but you can't let yourself get too downbeat about it because then you will have the following week, a weekend like you just had, and, it's a completely different world apart from what you were experiencing. Most of the time, it probably will be good, but there will be letdowns. It's not gonna be 100% of the time. It's really important to remember that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think also just with the feminine cycle as well, like the time right before the period and on the period, like allowing myself the space to be as emotional as I need to be.
Yeah,
Because that is a time that's very deeply emotional and it's a time of a lot of truths and reflection come to the surface about what's really bothering me. So it's a great time for reflection. It's a great time to just allow the emotions to come out and just allowing myself that kind of grace and presence to do that as well.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Rapid fire.
Right, mental health.
Meditating, morning routine, just keeping it up.
Okay, romance.
Paul and I are going on vacation. We leave on Friday, so having that great quality time for a week, I'm so excited.
Beautiful. Contribution.
I just started volunteering last weekend with a wellness event group in Miami, Coffee and Chill Miami. It's so amazing. I want to continue to do that. And I'd also like to throw in some more environmental contribution as well. So, like cleanups and stuff like that. Recently, I've been picking up trash just everywhere I see it on the ground. So, I want to continue to do that as well.
Nice. What are you doing volunteering at the coffee and chill?
It's just going, helping with setup, helping with breakdown. A lot of our Tony friends actually do it as well. So
That's very
it's
cool.
really fun. It's a great way to enjoy the event and
Awesome.
give back to such a cool community.
Nice. Growth.
I think continuing to read, continuing to keep up to date on my personal goals, I think looking back at them is really helpful. Once a month to see where I'm at with everything. And again, morning routine, meditating, all that.
Yeah, nice. I love that from a goal setting perspective. I always look back maybe once or twice a month on my goals, and it's just nice to see the progress you've made. It's a really good way to do it. And
Yeah.
to remind yourself. Fun.
I think just doing what I've been doing, keeping, I can always keep my weekends pretty busy, and then I'm going on vacation, which I'm really excited for. So I think just actually continuing to make the time for it. I'm pretty good at keeping the fun.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Environment, physical environment.
This one's the tricky one for me. I'm not thrilled with my current physical environment. I love the building I live in, but the apartment, it doesn't quite feel completely homey to me, but we are gonna be moving soon, so I think what I can do is starting to prep for that move, is starting to budget for the furniture I want, starting to, like, really start to design it and starting to plan ahead for that, and just really tapping into the, like, manifesting aspect of it, really the visualization aspect of the physical environment, prepping to actually move because 'cause that'll be happening early sometime next year, but we're in preparation right now, so I think just starting to get the wheel turning in that area so when the time does come, like, things are ready, like, I have the money to splurge on my stupid luxury couch and things like that.
Nice. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exciting. Friends.
I wanna separate this into 2. So my long distance friendships are going great. I wanna continue to keep those up and reach out to friends that my long distance friendships, like with you, we communicate once or twice a week, so it's very easy. But some of my other friends, just making sure to check in every once in a while, like once a month, just, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then for my in-person Miami friends, I think this is something I've been really challenged with, and if you haven't listened to the past episodes, I suggest that you go back and do that. Building community in Miami has been something very challenging, but after this past weekend, it seems like I'm starting to grab some momentum in there, and I've been living in Miami 2 years. I just hit the anniversary, and I'm starting to finally feel like I have some friends, not like necessarily a ton of close friends, but like acquaintance friends, potential friends, and just continuing to put in good energy to make the most out of it.
Good, nice. Spirituality.
I think what we were talking about earlier, meditation and deep reflection, the combo of the 2. I think I need to create some more time. Meditation, I am consistently doing, especially after doing my homework of meditating every day, even if it's just 5 minutes. But the reflection, I have not made a lot of time for some like deep reflection and journaling. I typically have my space set aside for that. That's typically right around the time I send my voice message to you, right before or after. I might go and journal and deep dive, but I haven't been doing that. So I'm actually moved my journal to my pool bag. So now
Nice.
by the pool, I can take some if I'm tired, done reading or done sending you a voice message or done swimming or whatever, like I can actually sit down and journal. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing actually is convenience when it comes to spirituality because actually it's one of the main things that you can make really easy to do and to make that a 10.
Yeah.
And it's just about kind of allowing the circumstances or the environment to do that, which it sounds like you're doing, which is great.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
physical health.
That's something we had to chat about last week. I was falling off my health game a little bit, and I think I need to I honestly didn't do my homework. I did not do sit down and actually figure out great systems for me to manage the food aspect of my physical health. The movement part I've got pretty much down. Like I make sure to move my body at least once a day in whatever way that feels good for me. If that's a walk or yoga or weightlifting or whatever. At least once a day, I'm still managing to do that. Sometimes it's even twice a day. So keeping up with that, but the food part, I really want to sit down and figure out. I mean, I'm going to be going on vacation next week, so I think that's an excellent time for some deep reflection about the systems, but sitting down and figuring out a food system where the rules are feasible for me to keep up with, but not too lax. Like
Mhm.
finding like the happy medium for me.
Yeah, family.
I've been checking in with my family here and there. I think just continuing to check in with them is fine, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna be seeing my parents in a couple of weeks. My dad and I are gonna go to a tennis tournament, which is gonna be great. We do that every year. We go to the US Open, and I'll be spending some time with my mom as well and my sister, but just as far as, like, other family, like, I'm still calling my grandma twice a week. I'm maybe reaching out to my grandfather. I haven't done that, maybe making it a point to actually call him at least once a month, check in, see how he's doing. That is something I could definitely implement.
Easily done. Finances.
I really wanna sit down and look at my annual how I've been doing so far, especially not buying any clothing and not drinking any alcohol. I haven't done that all this year, so I feel like I've been saving a lot of money, but I actually haven't sat down and looked at it. That's something that Paul and I typically do together. I mean, that's the benefit of dating an accountant is that he pulls all our numbers, he does, like, the data, and we haven't gotten a chance to do that. So I think sitting down and actually looking at our year to date finances and year over year finances and seeing, okay, like how have we been doing? What are these big things that we want to save for? We're moving soon and I'm a bougie bitch and I want my home to be like architectural digest, just gorgeousness. And it's like, how can we save for that? How can we be smart about our budgeting? So I think sitting down and actually looking at the numbers and looking at how we've been doing so far this year.
Okay. And career.
So this is something interesting is that a potential career opportunity has popped up for another side hustle outside of my 9 to 5 and outside of the 2 podcasts. Another potential side hustle has popped up and it seems like scary and exciting to me, which is a great indicator that it might be a good option for me. It's also going to be really helping out my boyfriend as well. So I think I'm gonna give that a shot. I think I'm gonna give it a try. I'm not gonna be trying it until after vacation, so once vacation ends, I'm likely gonna be picking up another side hustle that will get me to my actual finance goals for the year too, but that is something that I don't know, I find that the best decisions are ones that scare you a little bit and excite you, and that's what this decision is feeling like right now. I'm curious at how I'm gonna manage it, but a lot of my other projects that I've been working on are coming to a close, which is like I made like I had other projects that I was working on, like just on the side in the evenings, and a lot of those are done now. So just opening up space for this new opportunity to see.
Yeah. So it sounds like those opportunities coming to a close is kind of perfect timing to make way for something new.
I think so, and a lot of these projects weren't, like, huge, it's like planning my vacation, like, my boyfriend was super busy, so I planned this entire vacation by myself, but it still takes time and energy, is
Yeah.
like that. I made like, I was doing something for my aunt, and I was taking notes on a book, and these things were eating up time in my evenings, in addition to working on podcasts and stuff like that, but now that these projects are coming to a close, I believe I'm gonna have the extra space and energy to do that, and if I'm gonna be helping my boyfriend out with his work, we can spend Saturday mornings or whenever, like, actually sitting down together and working on what we're working on, so
Yeah.
it's exciting. We'll have to see how it goes, though.
I mean, it's all of it sounds very exciting, from the side hustle front, but also very achievable, which is great.
I hope so. I started to we started to sit down together and look at actually what the work would entail, what he needs, and it's a lot of it is just time management and energy management, just with balancing his workload and making sure he's getting back to people, and I think those systems can just be set up pretty easily, like, time management, something I'm pretty okay at. That's something I pride myself on is that my time management skills are, like, good. So, hopefully it can help him, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and he can outsource that to somebody else,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Nice. Very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, that was, like, a little bit of a different episode, going through the entire wheel of life rapid fire for both of us, but it's like a nice, like, check-in. Also, like, it's a really great time to do that too because your fucking birthday is next week. It's a great
It
time to do that.
is. It honestly it is, and I set out the intention of this is how I want to go into year number 28. 20, that's terrifying. But year number 28, this is how I want to live. I'm 28. I'm closer to 30 now than I am to 25. I need to take control. I need to make this happen. I need to make these changes. And they're all so easy, but this is what's going to turn me into a man that I can truly be proud of.
Right, right. It's like, how can you become that man, and how can you step into that man every day? Before you know it, you're already him, basically, which is super exciting. So it's a great time to I find that these big reflections are really great to do around your birthday, around the end of the year, and also like end of August, end of summer, which is your birthday anyway, because it's like back to school time. It's like the changing of the seasons, getting ready to go into fall and winter, which is always a very I don't know about you, it's always a very busy time for me. So
Yeah, it's a busy time for me too. I think actually I'm not sure if it was you that told me this. There was someone very recently who said the best time of year to set intentions in terms of goals, resolutions, big changes to your life is probably around this time of year, like summer, spring kind of time. When the weather's nicer, you're more motivated to actually do things. Well, I guess you live in Miami, so it doesn't make a huge difference to you with the weather, but Christmas around here, December, January is a time where people tend to be eating a lot. Especially in
yeah.
London, the weather doesn't tend to be very good. Well, it doesn't tend to be, it's never very good until you get to this time of year. So I think a really good time of year to be doing this kind of thing is now. And
Yeah.
these months, the last couple of months, it's a really good time to actually start making those changes because I find that when I'm in a space of, well, a negative headspace, I'm not going to say I get seasonal depression, but, when it's cloudy and gray and raining all the time, I'm just not motivated to do these things. So
Yeah.
it's best to set these habits out now when you have the time and the energy and the motivation to build the habits compared to, in the winter where it is just tougher to get that motivation, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Changing of the seasons is always an excellent time, and yours always lines up with end of summer. So,
It does. Yeah.
and birthdays are an excellent time too because it's like setting intention going into a new year, a new circle around the sun, and figuring all of that out. So, it's a really great time. So, we encourage all of you at home to do the same, like quick rapid fire, go through the wheel of life and see kind of measure where you're at right now and see where you can improve. And obviously, this is not going to come out around that time, but wherever you are this season, this time of year, just making the time to do that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree.
Amazing. So let's move on to the last section. I have the surprise the surprise voice message. I did not tell Josh who this was. I said it was a surprise and his guesses were incorrect.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
so
Okay, there we go. Hello, happy Sunday. I don't know why my phone did not give me a notification for this, but I'm just seeing this now. So yes, I can absolutely give one of these that is going very well and then why and one that is going very well, I would say is I'm looking at all of them. You're getting this in live time is between because relationships are incredible like friends and but I would say honestly, career in terms of what's going really well, just the growth year over year, month over month, and the trajectory of everything is really exciting. And I don't think I fully understand what it like the trajectory that I'm on in terms of career. And it's just something that it's an area I feel so dialed in and so focused in and know the path, know where I'm going, know what I need to do. So I'd say that. And I would say physical health, because I just think that's like very dialed in terms of what I'm doing every single day, what I'm eating, my energy levels. I'm never tired. Yeah, that's what I'd say for those two that are going really well. And then ones that need some TLC, I would say honestly, spirituality. I feel like sometimes I get caught up in the motions of achievement and life and striving forward and growing and crushing it that I forget to connect to why we're all here. And I'm just going so fast that I don't take time to slow down and really connect to God and have that space. So I think that is definitely one of them. And then the second that could use some TLC is I'd say contribution. Cause I think sometimes, especially when you're younger, it's all about you and it's what you're doing and how you're growing and what you're able to achieve and all that sort of stuff. And I've been thinking about this recently where I need to focus more on contributing now, not when I get to a certain point, not when I'm further along, not when I decide to slow down, like right now. And then, yeah, I would say that. And then a few area that like a little TLC, but something I'm actively working on, just relationships where I want to invest in not only like Gabby and I's relationship with planning trips and spending a lot of quality time together, but also friendships and planning experiences and having those moments for friends is becoming more and more important, which is why I'm super excited for Friday. I think it's gonna be awesome. But hope this helps. Let me know if you need anything else, and I will talk to you soon.
Hey,
Wow.
we had a celeb, Juan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I was not shocked when he said that like career and health are going so well because I know that's what he focuses on so much of his time and energy. What's interesting was the spirituality and contribution needing a little bit more TLC. And I wonder if they can go hand in hand. Like, I wonder if there's a way to contribute in a way that's also going to impact your spirituality. Let's say, I mean, he's mentioned God, but I don't know how religious he is. If he's involved in a church, does it look like contributing to your church, or does it look like setting aside that time for prayer or meditation or whatever, and then also contributing? I don't know if it's two separate things or together, but I do think contribution and spirituality, there's a really interesting connection there. And it's really possible that he could completely, you know, put them together. Maybe it looks like getting involved in a local spiritual center and contributing, if that's with monetarily or with your time or your energy. So it's
Yeah.
very, very possible.
No,
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think actually all three of those things from a relationship perspective, contribution, and spirituality, actually in some ways they kind of all are very similar. In fact, if they're all the three areas that are suffering the most on his wheel of life right now, and yet work in particular, from a career perspective, everything seems to be going really well, working very hard, working a lot. It's so easy to get caught up in the pace of life, and it's something that I think we all fall fall victim to eventually. I think with me it's very different to one's position where he's, very focused on career. For me, I get caught up in the pace of life from a fun and social perspective. And as a result, my spirituality, contribution, and and relationships, when it's whether it's family or romantic relationship, but also social relationships, they do suffer. I think they are things that you need to put a bit of time into. You need to put time aside to do and to focus on. And again, it's so easy to get caught up in the pace of life, but it's also just as important to take that time to focus on those things. So spirituality, I think, is kind of like what you said about my 606. That's the kind of first thing that needs to be focused on. I think if you can nail down the spirituality and taking time to actually focus on that, contribution and social will become easier.
Yeah.
Social relationships, whatever it is, whatever it may be, they will just naturally become easier.
Yeah. And connected to your spirituality, it looks so different to everybody. It could be like in an organized setting if you go to a church or whatever, or if it looks like prayer or meditation, if that's somewhere you can fit into your daily routine. Like, I know Juan is waking up at the crack of dawn to do his fucking cold plunge and workouts and everything. So does it look like maybe on the drive to the gym, taking that time for prayer or on your drive, or is there a way that you can add it into your schedule, or does it actually look like a dedicated time and space every Sunday morning going to a church? I don't know. But I definitely say figure out a way to incorporate 5-10 minutes into your routine to just connect to God or universe or whatever your greater purpose. And then also I think the contribution will come easily to you in that way. And I honestly think if it could be a combo deal for
Yeah,
this situation. Like,
100%.
I
I
really
completely
do,
agree.
and I think it'll help with the relationships as well, like getting involved in a local spiritual center, and that'll help with connections as well. And then also if you wanna donate monetarily or donate your time, those are really excellent ways to get involved.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Juan, for sending that in. That's super, super exciting and helpful. That was your surprise guest, Josh. Were you
I would
surprised?
never have guessed. Never have guessed. I was so far off with my guesses.
Yeah, Josh's guesses were our other two like mutual friends, but Juan is like a mutual friend from Tony Robbins like back in the day, and he's also in Miami. So I've been hanging out with that squad for this past weekend. I saw them like twice, so it was a good
Juan
time.
had he gave me one of my first ever really kind of very memorable moments from the environment. When I was 14, it was my first time. I was very nervous. I didn't know anyone. And he used to do this thing. I don't know if he was doing this when you came, because it was the second year, wasn't it? That my second year. So when I was 15, you came for the first time.
Okay.
And he used to go around with dollar bills, finding anyone who was smiling, and he would give them the dollar bill and say, "I just noticed you had an amazing smile. Here's a dollar bill. Pass it on to someone else who you think has a nice energy." And to be honest, I mean, it was such a nice feeling. He came up to me, and that was one of my first memories that I can think of from that environment, where it really kind of made me feel just good and like, comfortable there.
Yeah.
And I returned the favor. I came back a year later and I did the same back to him, and he was, "Oh my God." And it was just something that really stuck with me. And we, built a friendship off the back of that when I was 14.
I've never heard that story before.
If you bring it up to him, he'll remember, because he used to go around doing it. Like he'd
I'm
spend
gonna
like
give him a dollar. I'm gonna give him a dollar
please
and
do.
say,
Yeah. Absolutely. He'll love it.
I'm gonna absolutely do that because I've never heard that before. I think my first memory of Juan is also my first memory of Omid. It must have been my first year going to the Tony Robbins camp, and they were DJing the
Yeah.
party the first night. And I just remember like seeing them and being like, these people are participants. That's so cool. It's just so cool that they're bringing the life to the party, the energy to the party. And even now, I went to Juan and his fiance Gabby's party on Friday, and it however many years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, they're still doing the same thing, like pumping up the energy, pumping up the vibes, and it's really nice to see that over time, like people are still yes, we grow and yes, we evolve, but at the core, we're still the same people, and that's really cool to witness, especially when you're like in someone's life and then not in their life and then back in their life again. So, that was my first memory of him for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, really good person. We
Oh,
love him.
absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was all we have this week, guys. And don't forget to do your homework too. Josh and I both have our homework, but don't forget to do your homework as well. So
I've got the alarm set.
you got the alarms at 6:06. And yeah, I'm gonna be on vacation, so it'll be a good time. I'm really excited. All right, guys, we'll see you next week on Mastermind Moments. If you want us to mastermind something in your life, please send us a voice message. We love hearing from you guys, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.